Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm your host, Nicole Galacci, and just a quick sort of overview. CareersNOW is Food and Beverage Ontario's new workforce development initiative for Ontario's food and beverage processing industry. The program was launched to connect job seekers with employers in Ontario, and the exciting initiative is building on the talent attraction and job seeker engagement success of programs Taste Your Future and Frontline Food Facts, which you may already be aware of or be following, which we hope you are. We're making the connection between job seekers and employers with activities such as these mentorship sessions, also essential skills training and job fairs. So we'll kick off the session with our speakers. We have Alvin, Alek, and Lonny speaking today, and they will introduce themselves, you know, what they do, where they went to school, their education, the skills they've developed throughout their career, and how their role fits within the larger organization. And hopefully we'll learn a little bit more about the food industry in general. After they've spoken, we will have some time for questions. So please make sure you write down any questions that you have. And being a relatively small group, we thought it might be cool to unmute. And so you can actually ask the questions and we can have more of a dialogue, which you know, oftentimes is a little bit more fun than formal presentations in any case. So hopefully that's doable. So I will hand things over to Alvin.
Well, thank you, Nicole, and hello, everyone, and welcome to the Student Career Mentorship Series, hosted by Food and Beverages Ontario's CareerNOW team. My name is Alvin Alexander, and well, I am one of the guest speakers. I'm going to be talking to you about my experience in this food industry sector. To be honest, I will be speaking to you more about my experiences and how I got into this industry, and like I will try to make it a little short, I would say, and then try to be more thorough about how to getting into the skilled trades. But before I start, I would like to thank this wonderful team for reaching out to me. For being a guest speaker here. I mean, it's an honor. And also, I would like to congratulate the entire team for organizing such an informative session for students. If we talk about schools and colleges, it's very hard for children when they are coming out of college or when they are coming out of school to find actual job opportunities or find actual work that they want to get into, unless they get exposure from, you know, from their seniors. It could be from their house, it could be from their friends, families. So this initiative is a very good opportunity for, you know, for everybody to get in touch with, especially with the food industry. Honestly, I wish I had something like this when I was finishing my college back in the days. But honestly, it's such a wonderful thing that what you guys are doing. So basically, I'm going to start a little bit about myself. I'm a mechanical engineer. I come from a city called Chandigarh in India. I love traveling. I love exploring new places. I finished college back in 2010, which looks like a very long time ago, if I look back at my journey. And so as I was finishing college, my focus of getting a job, the industry that I was looking at was automobile manufacturing. Like many other mechanical engineers in India, the only industry that we were exposed to in our college was automobile manufacturing. Be it car manufacturing, be it motorcycle manufacturing, be it like parts manufacturing. So that was the only industry that we were exposed to. We did get a little exposure from pharmaceutical companies as well, but we were never given the chance to explore food manufacturing. And started searching jobs and internships in automobile sectors, and luckily I landed an internship in my first job at Microturners, which is one of India's largest OEM part manufacturer for Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki. So I was there for almost 6 months when I finished my internship, and I was hired full time as a production engineer, and by the same company. And my main work was to collaborate with the production teams, quality assurance teams, raw material department, maintenance departments for meeting production schedules. I was at Microturners for about 3 years. 3 years, like around. I started in August of 2010, and I finished almost in July of 2013. And while working there, I my main experience was my main knowledge was working within the industry and how to deal with people, how to deal with different departments and how to collaborate with teams. In August of 2013, I joined Kone Elevators and Escalators as a technical support engineer. Kone, you might know, is one of the largest brands when it comes to elevators and escalators, auto walks in globally. So the company works in manufacturing, installing, and servicing these equipments. My job at Kone was completely different from what I was doing at Microturners. And it involved me working with teams of technicians and fixing complex technical problems, technical issues that we encountered while working on the equipment. I was at Kone for approximately 2 years, and that's the time when I decided I want to move to Canada. So in June of 2015, I packed up my bags. I moved to Canada for a hope, for a hope of a better future. Initially, I struggled a lot to find a good job and even took bridging courses at Access Employment and even at Humber College to make my resume more attractive to Canadian employers. I landed a job at Ingram Micro as an order picker, and through an internal posting, I got the opportunity to work as a product tester for Amazon Returns. I worked at Ingram Micro for approximately a year and a half, and I was hired there on a contract basis. So after my contract finished, I started looking for other opportunities, and I came across one of my friends who was working at FGF, and he told me about an opportunity to get into the food manufacturing business, and so I showed a little interest in that, but I was not 100% sure, like, if I would get that opportunity. So in June of 2017, I cleared my interviews. I got the initiation, and in June of 2017, I joined FGF Brands as an entry-level mechanic, where I have been working since, ever since. So now let me talk to you about a little bit about FGF Brands. What FGF Brands is? FGF Brands is basically an industrial bakery based here in North York, Ontario. We have manufacturing plants all over Canada as well as United States. We have plants in North York, Vaughan, and there's one plant in Texas, United States as well. So FGF is one of the largest suppliers of sweet baked goods, naans, croissants in North America. Retail stores and food service clients like Walmart, Sobeys, Longo's, Starbucks, these are our main customers, and we supply product to them directly. If you check actually FGF's website, it mentions there that FGF is a tech company that bakes. Now this is a very interesting thing if you think about it. How can a bakery be a tech company? Well, the answer comes from the equipment that we use. See, we use state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line robotics to package our muffins, to package our croissant, to package most of the products. And so it gives you, it kind of gives you an opportunity to be on the technical side as well. And so if you also look at the vision of FTF's vision is to become the world's greatest bakery. Now, mind it, we at FGF, we really appreciate everybody coming into work. We really appreciate all the manpower that comes in, and it kind of gives everybody an opportunity to work together and work together as a team and come together as a team. So I at work FGF currently I'm working as a maintenance mechanic. And I'm almost there as a millwright. I'm not quite there, but I'm almost there, which I will come back to in a few minutes. Like how I will explain to you how my journey has progressed and what what future plans I have with this company and within the industry, how you can, how you can grow your career. Now let's talk about a few things that I would like to discuss. So what can you do to get into the skilled trades, and how does the skilled trades tie up in the food manufacturing? Because I, being a mechanic, if you think about it, what does a mechanic do at a bakery? For sure, he's not baking stuff. So he's there to do something else. So, okay, let's go back to what a skilled trade is. Like a skilled trade is nothing but it's just a career path that requires hands-on work and specialty knowledge about, it could be about equipment, it could be about the manufacturing process, it could be about, the structure of the building, like anything and everything involves, it can be involved into the skilled trades. So, and what are the benefits? Let's talk about what are the benefits that you get in a skilled trade environment. See, in skilled trades, the jobs are in demand all the time. If you think that the industry, whichever industry you want to get in, the first job they require is installation of equipment. That comes under a skilled trade. It could be using the equipment. Again, this comes under skilled trade. Believe it or not, you get paid better than most, like I would say most of the other industries. And there are many paths to advance. You can start in A, say you start at A and you can end at, I don't know, at Z. There are so many skills that you can learn. So let's say, let's take my example, how I began. So I began as an entry-level mechanic at FTF. Now, what is you would say, what is an entry-level mechanic? An entry-level mechanic is nothing but, I would say it is more like an apprenticeship. So I started working, I had a bit of experience back from India, a little bit of hands-on experience as well, working on machinery, solving problems, fixing, troubleshooting problems. But to be honest, I had never worked in a food manufacturing plant. So I was working with other more skilled, more experienced mechanics and just shadowing them on their work, trying to learn from their experience. So for the first almost 1 year, I was working with somebody. We used to fix machines. We used to take, like if there was any problem with the machines, we used to try to fix the machines. That was mostly my day-to-day work. In about a year, I was promoted to level 1. And so I kind of progressed in my rank as well. I was promoted to level 1 as a mechanic working in FGF. And so that gave me an opportunity to work on my own. It gave me more experience, more exposure to the machinery. Right now we have depositing lines, we have packaging lines, and most of the times I'm working alone on shifts and taking calls and trying to figure out trying to fix machinery. So ever since I've been there, I have um, I have gained another level. So I'm right now currently at level 2 as a mechanic, and soon to be millwright. And so it's been a very promising journey. The progress has been steady. It's never like you are never stagnant. In working in this industry, you know that it's there is always demand for food, so it cannot go down anyways. So let me tell you about some facts about the industry. So to get into the skilled trades, there are three main steps that three main entry points that you can take. First is either you go to a school or a college and get a diploma or a degree in the skilled trades that you want to get in. For me, I could have gone to a college and did the mechanic internship or apprenticeship and got into the industry through there. But and then the second option you have is either you find an employer that gets you these apprenticeship programs from the skilled trade colleges, and you get paid for working as an apprentice as well. The third is if you have experience, say if you already have worked a certain amount of time, you can kind of challenge the college with the for equivalent apprenticeship degree, and they will recognize those hours, they will recognize that time that you worked and give you the same designation. So I'm going with the third route. For me personally, I'm taking the third route. I have worked at FGF almost, sorry. So I have worked at FGF for almost 4 years now, and I am almost at 8,000 hours. So for me, the journey that I took is it led to me having the experience and having the number of hours that are required for the equivalency. So I'm going to take that route. So after completing 8,000 hours, what you can do is you can submit an application to the skilled trade college, and they will ask for the employer's approval. They will apply. They will ask for what kind of job you do, the job duties that you do, and they will kind of they will kind of double check with the employer that is the said person working with you, does he have the knowledge that he's claiming he has, and then they will give you the equivalent, the equivalent degree. In my case, it will be a millwright license. So this is the course of like the course that I'm trying to take, and hopefully by next month or by the end of October, I think I will have my license, hopefully. Other thing you can do is you can always, if you're working with an employer that knows that you don't have a license, you can always keep them in the loop, and they can apply for a license for you as well. I mean, that you really don't need their help. You just need a letter of like a letter of employment, and you just need a letter from them saying that yes, this person is working with us for the past, say, 3 years, 4 years, and then you can just apply online. One more thing that I would like to talk to you about is how is this industry, how is this industry so fruitful? Many of us, we don't actually consider, like, see, coming straight out of college, I never thought about food manufacturing as a good starting point. But to be honest, it is quite a fruitful industry if you think about it. We've seen the pandemic happen, and we've seen all other industries crumble, under the burden of the pandemic. But The only industry that was left standing or that kind of supported everybody in that time was the food manufacturing industry. Um, I've seen like even in my family, in my close friends, I've seen people losing their jobs, and to my surprise, I almost 80 to 90% people at one time were staying at home, not doing anything, collecting serve. That was the only thing that they were doing. But for me, I was going to work every day, almost 5 times a week. I was going to work because the demand was so high, and because people had to eat, they were staying home, they had to eat. So this pandemic has taught us that being part of the food manufacturing sector, food manufacturing industry, it is a very fruitful thing. Even like for new graduates, if I talk about FGF brands, what FGF brands is doing. See, FGF brands has we have internship, we have co-op programs that come into effect even when you're studying. So you can essentially, when you're finishing college or when you are in college, you have 6 months of internship or a co-op. You can come and join FGF, and they can easily uh, they can easily hire you as a co-op. And once your co-op is finished, you will, like, FGF will definitely give you an opportunity to work with them. And so it kind of creates a good opportunity for new students, newcomers, new graduates, even people coming from, like immigrants coming from other countries. It gives them a good opportunity for them. I mean, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk to you about. I mean, I have a lot of things to say, but again, time is limited. I mean,
That was
I'm looking at Nicole and she's like, "Oh, you are taking too much time." But honestly, there are so many things that we can share. I mean, I know Alek and Lonny, they must have a lot more points than I have. But again, thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity, and hope everybody who joined in gets an opportunity, to work in this industry and gets a positive note out of this whole session, this whole conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The passion for this industry comes through when you speak. Two things. I'm going to bug you to come back and talk when you're a millwright, because we're going to need to hear about that.
Yes.
And the second thing, sorry, our background has turned you orange. I have to say, I do apologize. It's not done that to anyone else, but you pulled it off. It's all good. Thank you so much. We do have some questions, but what I might do is wait till the end.
Yep.
And go to Alek now, and then we can come back, and what I'll do is ask the questions and then just see which of the three of you wants to answer, who has a great answer. So awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to mute now and hand things over to Alek.
Hello, guys. My name is Alek Zalmans. I currently working as a maintenance manager at Gailey Foods. Gailey Foods has multiple plants across Ontario, and there's one facility in Alberta as well. We, make dairy products. The place where I work produces milk, just liquid milk, starting from skim milk and finishing the cream. We have using very specific high temperature technology that gives product extended shelf life, and the facility is called Long Life because of the long life of a longer extended life of products that we make. I manage a team of 12 people, which includes power engineers, TSSA certified, because we have quite large boilers and refrigeration system. We have mechanics or technicians, as we call them. And obviously we have a chief engineer. It's a requirement from TSSA and other admin personnel that deals with PM scheduling and parts. So my story would be sort of to add to Alvin's. My background is very similar. I'm a mechanical engineer that started the career as a mechanic. I am coming from Europe, from Latvia. Back home, I started to work as a mechanic and worked for years. It was a bit of a, challenging times to find an engineering job. So when my family and I arrived to Canada, I also started working as a mechanic. The first job I had was at the place called Gracious Living. When you go to Canadian Tire and you buy plastic furniture or plastic, lounge chairs and tables, this is where it's all made. Even when you drive on the streets, you can think about the yellow traffic lights. They make them too. So my job was servicing these machines, the injection molding machines. It's quite, dirty job, if you will, because it's using hydraulic oil because you need to create massive pressure to close these molds and inject plastic in them. So the oil was basically everywhere. The machines were big and required a lot of oil to make it happen. And if anything leaks, you would have to deal with the oil and obviously refuel the machine. My second job was since I got the millwright ticket, I worked at the factory that makes laundry detergent and bar soap. It's also, not a very clean and that kind of environment that food manufacturing will offer you. It's a chemical manufacturing. They manufacture chemicals on site, and then they were processed and packaged as a laundry detergent or dish soap or bar soap. So after working there a couple of years, I got the job at the Unilever factory. The brand name is Lipton and Knorr. You probably are familiar with that. And it was a change from where I worked, before, is it's a food environment. It's a facility that must comply with GMP, good manufacturing practices. And now majority of or maybe even all food manufacturing has to be qualified under NSF, or which controls and checks that you have all the procedures and policies in place, that the food that is going to be made is quality and it's a safe food for everyone. So this is the reason why I kind of compared the jobs I had before, which were non-food, that the state of the manufacturing is a bit different. I never worked in automotive, but I believe automotive is also quite challenging in terms of where you work and how everything is around you, right? So another aspect I wanted to add to Alvin's story is that I was a mechanic like him. I did my millwright ticket, and then I got involved in continuous improvement program when I worked at Unilever. And this kind of helped me to transition into my supervisor position that I got there when I worked at Unilever. And I basically started to manage the same people I was working with, mechanics, electricians, millwrights. Yes, Alvin did talk about job security, but unfortunately, a place where I used to work, the company decided to relocate to United States. So I had to look for another job, and this is how I, got my job as a maintenance manager at Gailey Foods. So this is one of the ways to, like Alvin mentioned before, to upgrade your career is to work in maintenance management. The other way of upgrading mechanics career is if you get involved in controls and start learning, PLC and control circuits. You can add this to your portfolio, so to speak, and you can be one of the top technicians for this particular facility, because you will not just be able to do mechanical work, but you can troubleshoot controls and fix controls, and you will be like a one man that can fix the entire packaging or processing line. So the opportunities are there, and I would say I like working in food industry more than I worked in the plastic manufacturing and chemical manufacturing. That's my story is a bit shorter than Alvin, because he did all the hard work explaining all the steps how to get there. So thank you, Alvin. Nicole, back to you.
Lovely. Thank you so much. So no regrets moving from Europe to Canada?
No, no.
I did the same thing. From the
It's been a long time ago. It's almost 20 years now.
Yeah, same, 20 years. But thank you so much. That's awesome. I think we will have some questions, but for time wise, we'll go over to Lonny, and then I have some questions, even if we don't see any coming in. So I'm sure there will be at the end, though, but I'll have some questions at the end. But I will try and stick to the 5 o'clock finish time. So I know everyone's got things to do. So over to you, Lonny. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lonny. I'm the maintenance manager and chief operating engineer at Gailey Foods as well. The Gailey Foods I'm at is in Guelph. We have actually 2 facilities on site. One site we manufacture aerosol whipped cream and butter. And on the other facility, we process almost 1 million liters of milk into milk powder a day. So brief history of how I ended up where I ended up. I knew young that I wanted to work with my hands. I've always worked with my hands. I've always fiddled with things. Right out of high school, I got into a general metal machinist program. Went through that. I'm about 800 hours away from that, because as soon as I got out of college, I took a job as a machinist, and that's piecework. And being a machinist, you did the same thing day in and day out, and I grew very tiresome of it. I actually ended up taking a job as a production worker somewhere else just to get away from it while I reevaluated myself. In that time, I took a job as a machine setup. When I was working, this was for a company called Bendall Automotive. When I was doing that, I did that for about 3 months, and the maintenance supervisor came to me and asked me to join maintenance. From there, I joined maintenance as a maintenance helper, just doing PMs, filter changes, greasing machines, loops. Shortly thereafter, I worked my way into an apprenticeship. It was within like 6 months. I stayed with Bendall for almost 6 years. Then the automotive industry started to slow down, so we were only working about 4 days a week. A friend of mine knew a company called Axiom Millwrighting and Fabrication. I started taking part-time work with them. That led into full-time work, and they continued my apprenticeship from there. I ultimately left Bendall and started working for Axiom, and we did everything from installing lines, removing lines, making machines. I traveled all over North America, essentially. It was all over Canada, all over the United States, doing different jobs for companies like Pepsi and Royal Canin and all kinds of different manufacturings, Kuntz electroplating. One of my jobs when I was working for Axiom Millwrighting was actually to install a line at Gailey Foods. We installed the new whip line. So from that, at that time, Gailey only had 3 mechanics on site, and they were needing a night shift mechanic. Since I installed the line, I got hired. I was contracted originally to do the job, and then I actually ended up liking it there so much, I put in my resume, and that was 14 years ago. And now I'm maintenance manager and chief operating engineer. I stepped into this role about 4 years ago. I was a millwright on the floor for the first 10, mostly night shift. I transitioned to days with seniority eventually. In a nutshell, that's how I got where I am. Things I love about my job are, and it's different every single day. You never know what you're going to get. You get to challenge your mind. You get to really work your brain and figure things out. And one of the most satisfying parts of the job is when you come to a piece of equipment and people are struggling with it, and you leave and it's running in perfect condition. So you get a lot of job satisfaction out of it. Yeah. So currently in my role right now, I'm revamping the entire maintenance department. I have been working on that for like the last 4 years, essentially. We had four millwrights 4 years ago. I'm looking to expand up to 11 with 1 electrician and 1 PLC specialist. And I have 1 4th class stationary engineer. Yeah, where else can I go from here? Yeah, so one of the exciting things of my job as a manager now is I oversee capital projects, and I get to improve the facility. Currently, I'm in a project right now where we're replacing 1 boiler and rebuilding 2 others. Last year, I shut the plant down and replaced cooling towers and upgraded those facilities. And it's really satisfying at the end of the day when a job goes well and it works well and everything goes off without a hitch. I know COVID has thrown a lot of monkey wrenches into how we do things with social distancing and making sure people are safe, but it still can be done. Yeah, so I don't know where else to go from here. I've got a pretty short career, so like I haven't had a lot of jobs, but I've seen a lot, I've done a lot, working with cranes. Yeah, that's kind of my job in a nutshell.
I have a question straight away, because I think there's also a misconception that if you're going into the kind of role you're in, Lonny, because it made me think as you were speaking, you'll never be a manager or manage people or manage a team or be in charge of the budget or anything like that. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that. Like, did you have to learn those skills, or do you think you go into those types of roles kind of with a natural skill set to work with other team members?
No, that's a really good question. So actually, Gailey Foods actually has what they call a lighthouse program, and they develop people from within that they feel, well, they call it the lighthouse because they say we're the shining light of the organization. So they actually put me into that program to help me develop those skills. I think that was one of the major assets for becoming a maintenance manager. That actually parlayed for me into almost landing a production manager role within Gailey Foods. I know within Gailey Foods, maintenance managers generally do promote well into production manager roles, and we have a few that are production managers that started in maintenance. So that transition works well. And I do everything from building budgets, tracking cost centers, and all that sort of stuff.
Right, because I think that is something that people wouldn't necessarily assume. I know, Alek, you said that you run, manage a team as well. So I mean, I guess if you don't want to, you don't have to go down that road, but the option is there if you
the option's there for you if you would like to. You could always move into a different career path. It's a good springboard from one. Mostly, generally speaking, from my experience, maintenance managers have one of the most difficult roles within a facility. So if you get to a point where you have succeeded within that role, transitioning into a different role within an organization seems to be an easier fit. Because when maintenance, you have to keep everybody happy. You got production demands, quality demands, you got budgets to worry about, parts on the shelf, as opposed to just worrying about what's going out the door from a production standpoint. So it's a balancing act for sure, making sure everybody stays happy.
So I bet COVID made all of that super easy to deal with, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know what, I can keep asking questions, but I know that there are people that maybe have some questions too. So like we mentioned at the beginning, I guess everybody can kind of come off mute if they have a question now. I think that's probably the way that we're going to manage the rest of the session.
Nicole, it's Isabel
Yeah.
here. There seems to be a question in the comments also.
Yes, so there is a question here. I don't know if this is one for you guys or whether it's one I can answer offline potentially, but if you have any insights, please feel free to
You might have to just read it out.
answer.
Nicole.
The question is, hi, so I have completed my master's in food science and technology. However, I've not been successful in getting a job in the food industry. So that means that this person, Ms. Jackson, thanks for the question. So that means I don't have any experience, lacking the necessary skill set. I want to relocate. Do Canada accept international students to work in the food industry? She is currently in the Caribbean, depending on where you're. I mean, if you have any insights there, feel free.
I would like to answer that question actually. So again, if I talk about the programs that we run at FGF, so we have something called as co-op initiation. So we take students who have completed either their studies or they are still they're still studying. So they will be given an opportunity to work as a co-op and get paid for it. And so basically you have 6 months of co-op. Sometimes you have even 1 year of co-op, and so you can have any degree or diploma work, like in this case. I think this Jackson has MSc in food science and technology. I mean, this would be good to get you into the door at least. And if you are a co-op, you can learn on the job. You can even if even if you don't want to continue with the company, you can pretty much get opportunities from different companies. At least this will be a stepping stone for you to get into the industry.
I agree. I was just going to add to that. You have the experience from an education perspective. What I have learned through advising grads, but also from working with other industry employers, is if you can't get your experience in the food industry specifically, try and get experience in manufacturing in general, so that you can at least hit the floor running in an environment that will have the good manufacturing practices, those types of skills that you've learned in that environment, and then, you know, keep applying to the food manufacturers if that's where, you know, it makes sense. Obviously from your education, that's where you want to be, and you have to keep trying. With regards to you mentioned you want to relocate. I will say it's very challenging to find a position until you're actually in the country. You know, I understand the situation you're in, but most employers actually have a mandate to hire from Canada before they can even look overseas, just you know, because of you know, rules that they have to follow. It's really challenging to hire someone that doesn't actually live here and certainly hasn't got the employment permissions to work here. So hopefully that answers your question. If there are any questions that we don't get to today, I will add, you know, you can reach out to me and I can either ask our three speakers or give you my feedback as well. So does anyone else have anything to add to that question, or do we have any other questions? It's all gone quiet. I have questions. In terms of working in the food industry, one of the things that we find a challenge is trying to attract young people to, like you all three, I think, mentioned, it wasn't somewhere that you thought you'd work. It wasn't sort of top of mind. And I think that's key. Most people think of restaurant and
She's frozen.
your
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah, you were frozen for a bit.
Sorry. Okay, I don't know where I left off, but what are your thoughts with regards to, you know, what maybe are the misconceptions, why people might not think it's a place to work or a good place to work, and why you think it is? You know, maybe start with Lonny and
yeah, I'll step in on this one.
Yeah.
So first of all, I know in a lot of cases when I talk about I'm a millwright, there's people who don't even know what a millwright is. And that's, to me, a shame. Also, I'm going to use the general terminology that we're mechanics, we're knuckle draggers, we just turn wrenches, that people don't understand that there's a lot to the position, there's a lot to learn, and it's actually stimulates the mind as much as it does. People think we just turn wrenches, but there's a lot more to it. There's the computer side of things, there's electrical side of things, plumbing, prime movers, steam generation. When it comes to the food industry, you're never going to find a millwright is perfect for the food industry because the food industry is so well-rounded for a millwright. It literally covers almost every aspect, and you have to touch on just about every skilled trade to be a very well-rounded millwright within the food industry. So I find that's one of the biggest misconceptions, that, you know, mechanics are just, we're just dumb mechanics, right? I think we need to bust that stigma off, and I'd like to see more governmental advertising towards millwrighting and pushing people towards it more. So I know everybody's trying to push towards computers right now, but this is a career that's never going to go away. That no matter what, there's always going to be a need for a millwright, and we need to backfill that. And I think it's a great career path for people, and they need to start broadening people's views as opposed to just pushing computers down their throat right from high school.
You are 100%, you know, that I agree so much. It's interesting that people don't necessarily think about the food industry yet. We all eat. It's something we think about 3 times a day, if not more. Yet, you know, it's not somewhere that people particularly think, certainly whilst they're still at school, which is hence why we're doing these sessions and trying to promote, you know, like you said, this will do. You just mentioned the industry's not doing a great job, or government, and, you know, just speaking with you three today, I think does prove that misconception. All of you speak so well, it's, you know, you present so well, and so any ideas out there, you know, this will dispel those, hopefully. Alek, do you have anything to add there?
Well, I can add on the same note as Lonny said, that mechanic is kind of a center of the job, because what we have as a challenge at our facility, we need a mechanic that has either credentials from TSSA is usually these power engineers, whether it's fourth class or third class, they come in with the knowledge of just the safety components, how this stuff works, but they're not really mechanics, right? So we have a small team, and we can't afford to have, just this particular trade of set of this trade and this trade and this. We need a person that has the credentials but can work as a mechanic, and the other technicians that we have, there also needs to be a person with mechanic skill, even though we're looking for electricians, but a lot of electricians come in and they only do electrical work. But we need a mechanic that has a skill set of it's an electrician with a skill set of a mechanic, right? Which is also challenging. We interviewed so many electricians, and they don't want to come work partially as a mechanic, but it's the skill that is needed, especially in food manufacturing.
So we're getting closer to the 5 o'clock limit, time limit. I wanted to just ask each of you for the best piece of advice, or what, maybe that you've received, certainly to start your career in the food and beverage industry. What would you say is a takeaway sort of action item that students and grads could take away? Maybe we'll start with you, Lonny. That would probably help if I direct it.
That's a good question. I think the biggest thing is just getting your foot in the door one way or another, gaining some sort of experience one way or another. I agree with what you said earlier, Nicole, when you said if you can't even get into food right away, but you need to get into some sort of manufacturing. And it's the same with millwrighting. If you want to get into food down the road, which I highly, highly recommend, you still need to just get your foot in the door, get some sort of an experience, and get that credentials. And the sooner you do, the better. And when it comes to food industry, if that's specifically where you're looking, I would say look into, like, I want to touch on what Alek said a little bit, is get on into the TSSA and the refrigeration or the boiler side of things, because that will definitely put you above everybody else if you have that as a knowledge, as a background. It's going to bump you to the top of the pile for sure.
Awesome. Alvin, you want to jump in?
Lonny talked about the technical side of it, about how a millwright, how you can become a millwright, and Alek also talked about it. I want to talk about a little bit about how you can get into the production side as well. Basically, even if you start as a packaging team member, and you can kind of make your way up in the whole hierarchy, become a packaging operator, and then from there you can either become a team leader, go into the management side of it. So it's a good opportunity. Even if you get a job as a packaging team member, it's a good opportunity for anybody. Even like if you're struggling to find a job, again, going back to Ms. Jackson's question, if you're struggling to get a job in the industry, I think this is one way of getting somewhere, at least getting into the company. And from there, if you have credentials, if you have knowledge, if you have education, you can apply internal positions. You can take that path as well, because in a way, that's what I'm trying to do at FGF as well. I started as an entry-level mechanic. I saw the opportunity of a level 1 mechanic. I grasped that. I gave interviews. I cleared that. So it's just about getting yourself ready to come into this industry. You have to, like everybody says, you have to get your hands dirty. You have to work to get where you want to go. So that's just I wanted to add.
Great advice. And Alek, we'll finish with you if you have anything to add.
Yes, I can give you an example of a production worker who, came to our facility right after high school, and they started working as a floor helper, participating in sanitation activities or packing, repacking, and then they saw that there was an opportunity to upgrade the skill, and the company helped that individual to get into a millwright apprenticeship. And person started to work in maintenance department doing, majority of the jobs were just, change the oil and lubricate this and help to remove the gearbox and the jobs that are, not necessarily very skilled and qualified people do. But then year after the year, he learned the equipment, and finally he got his millwright ticket. He also got the higher salary because he was getting, his rate was increased every year based on the year of apprenticeship that he did. And I think that person is not regretting the decision that he made to join in the company manufacturing facility and be a mechanic. So I don't know which road he will take in the future, but I'm pretty sure he's going to stay with a trade, being a mechanic or work in management side of things.
Awesome. Well, I can't thank you guys enough for coming on here. It's without people like you who will, donate your time and your experiences and your expertise, we couldn't do what we're doing. So I'm so grateful that you were able to take the time and join us today. I'll just wrap up that if you are a job seeker, you can go to jobseeker.careersnow.ca and create your job seeker account. Through that, you'll be able to access all the career mentorship workshops. The next one is October 12th, and it is as well on skilled trades and production positions. We also have our essential skills training and job fairs. And I will add that the folks that have done the essential skills training will be highlighted at all of those career fairs. Job fairs. So, we're going to really make sure that employers know that you're ready to go and you've done this these extra courses. I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else for me to add other than, again, thank you so much. If there are any questions that you did want to ask and we didn't get to today, then please feel free to reach out to me. And thanks to everyone for supporting the delivery of this. And we will see you on the next one. But thanks again, guys.